Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Friday. We are going to be going over the great, I put that in parentheses, debate that took place today between Candace Owens and the clout chaser, Andrew Wilson. I didn't even know who this guy was before he went on Joe Rogan, before he said he's going to pay Candace Owens $300,000 to do a debate. Mar, R310, good to see you. And he got his wish. But unfortunately for him, I don't think it went as planned. And all I have to say, and I said this yesterday on my show, James Lee, the Today Show, all I have to say is you don't want to go into a debate with Candace when she knows her stuff. It's just not a smart idea. I've watched this take place over the years. People think they're going to, do something to her. They're going to, pull a one off and they're going to get her. It never happens. She always demolishes the other side. And I think that's exactly what she did this morning to Andrew Wilson. I think that he made himself look really stupid. I think he made himself look really dumb. I think that he made himself look bought and paid for by TPUSA. He was previously, which I didn't know, but I had to look into this guy, a manosphere podcaster. And he takes the opportunity to defend Erica Kirk, who recently just had a clip resurface from her run as Miss Arizona, USA, where she's saying she supports women in the corn industry. She thinks they stimulate the economy and it's a free country, so check into your pay-per-view. This is a guy that goes on the Whatever podcast all of the time to debate feminists. And he's saying that no, Erica doesn't need to stay home with her kids. She needs to continue Charlie's legacy by running this organization, even though Candace brought up, of course, that the real legacy is being with her kids. And Charlie's real legacy is his kids. We're going to get into all of that. Lady Luck 420, so good to see you. But I want to start off with this first clip that Ian Carroll posted of the end of the debate where Candace Owens really calls Andrew's bluff and says, can you name the 7 charges that are against Tyler Robinson? And in the entirety of this 3+ hour debate, if you want to call it that, there are many times that he tries to say, well, do you have facts or is it intuition? Do you have facts or it's intuition? As though intuition is something to be discredited. And, Candace has proved herself time and time again where she says something and then she produces the evidence. And so she's built up that trust and that rapport with her audience. But it's so funny because in this last clip, I feel my intuition is that Candace knew he didn't know shit. She knew he was a bought and paid for Trojan horse from TPUSA to try and put her in her place and make her look stupid. And unfortunately, the opposite took place for Andrew Wilson. But I think that she knew going into this, if I feel during this conversation that he doesn't really know the ins and outs, the details of this case, I'm going to ask him a very simple question. What are the 7 charges against Tyler Robinson? And I think that she had that intuition. She prepped for this moment. And it went as planned, I think, for Candace. Even if it was on a whim that she thought of this, destroyed him. She destroyed him many times, but specifically with this, let's go ahead and watch this clip.
Yeah, I'm fine with closings if you want to do closings.
Well, I also would just, if I may ask a question, which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah, can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But I want to make sure that we have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following the case.
It? That's the question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty like if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty. I just think that you should. Like,
right.
Can you tell me one?
Then let's do the counter. You can really. Yeah, no, this is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the question.
This is fair. Name all 7 since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like
name all 7.
And I
can you name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries a death sentence in the state of Utah. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And the
what's
final.
the specific charges, though?
That is them. Obstruction of justice, obstruction of justice, witness tampering.
Okay, and there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being charged.
No, just the charges and then 7?
Yeah, see, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay, got it.
I think your team would like to pull up the 7 charges that he just asked you about. If you guys want to pull that up just to confirm.
Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness, and count 7,
violent
offense in the presence of a minor.
In front of a child.
I did notice something I just was curious about. If I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to take it.
Let's see
if anyone was texted at all during this debate.
You give me permission.
You have full permission to go through my phone. I don't need to cheat.
So the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
Mm-hmm. I haven't even read my text messages.
That's a compliment.
He's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission.
Yes.
I'm just going to read 3 of them to
Yes.
11:32 because after that, I don't need to read it.
And you know they're texts. Could have been Telegram. Could have been something.
All
like
I
that.
have is Signal. You can check that too. I only have Signal. I don't need to I deeply care about this case. I don't need to pretend
I get
to
it.
know
If you
stuff
deeply
that I
care
don't
about
know.
the case,
Yeah.
I just, I have my other question is about the steakhouse receipt.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with closings if you want to do closings.
Well, I also would just
So that is really the summary of the way that this conversation, debate, whatever you want to call it, went down. But I played that clip that happened at the end first because I think it's a really great summary of the way the whole entire 3 hours went. This is a guy who I said yesterday, without knowing much about him, is a clout chaser. Candace Owens was already extremely popular. All Lives Matter with Kanye, starting with Charlie Kirk and the TPUSA, the Brigitte Macron documentary. Ladies and gentlemen, no one was talking about Brigitte Macron, the First Lady of France, possibly being an MK Ultra trans pedo before her documentary, except for, of course, the original guy in France. But nobody in the United States was talking about it until Candace Owens brought it here. Okay? No one was talking about what was hanging between Brigitte's legs before Candace Owens brought that to the United States. And now everybody thinks, oh my God, look at that Adam's apple. Look at that E.T. riding on the bike. She was very popular before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. She has become so much more popular and really has entered into a new level because of this assassination, because she was genuinely friends with Charlie Kirk. And you've had the TPUSA side and all of these TPUSA shills, which I believe Andrew is, come out and say time and time again that they weren't really friends. They weren't really friends. Be honest, Candace, what happened in the end? And she's proved them time wrong and wrong again by producing text messages that were very recent to his assassination that clearly showed they were friends. They had a friendly relationship. And it was a deep friendship, obviously. And she's proven that. She cares deeply about this case. She has produced more never before seen footage than the FBI. And she's really the people's choice. So then you get this Andrew Wilson guy who I said nobody knew who he was. He was a nobody. He goes on Joe Rogan, who knows how, probably because Joe Rogan's podcast at this point in time is some sort of state media. And I say that because I used to really like Joe Rogan's show. And look, I could be wrong. I think he seems like a great guy. He's an unbelievable interviewer. But lately, I'd say for sure since President Trump was on his show, he seems to always kind of go along with the narrative. Very different than the way he was during COVID, right? Calling out CNN, calling out the pandemic, calling out the vaccine, calling out all these things. But now when it comes to foreign countries like Israel, maybe having too much involvement with our politics, or maybe they could have killed Charlie Kirk, he ridicules Theo Vaughn, one of his so-called friends, on his podcast for that. We know he's very close with Dana White because of the UFC connection. We know that Dana White's very close to Trump. I don't know what's going on, but Andrew Wilson somehow, never heard of this guy, gets on the Joe Rogan podcast and says, and this guy is insufferable, smoking his cigarettes. Oh, he's so cool. Yeah. We offered her $300,000. She doesn't want to do it. Guess what? She decided to do it. He got beat down. He got embarrassed. This is my opinion. But overall, I think that is the takeaway here. You had Nick Fuentes, who also is going along with the FBI narrative that it was a lone shooter. Tyler Robinson on the Losi Center roof with a 30-06 saying, can't wait to live watch, can't wait to support Andrew. And now he's saying, oh, I couldn't even watch it. It's just a soap opera now. Yeah, you're saying that because your guy got embarrassed. Your guy couldn't even list the charges against Tyler Robinson when he wanted to go on and do this debate with Candace Owens because he said he had undeniable evidence. Overwhelming evidence. He believed there was overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. And then in the first 5 minutes of this debate, she goes, what percentage do you think that Tyler Robinson was the lone shooter on the roof and that he assassinated Charlie Kirk? And he goes, I don't know, 75 to 80%. Bro, why are you here? That would be reasonable doubt. If you don't think that it's 100% chance that Tyler Robinson's the one that did it on the roof with a 30-06 and his grandfather's great-grandfather's antique hunting rifle, why are you here? I think that he was a Trojan horse that collapsed at the door. TPUSA, this is my opinion. I think TPUSA reached out to this guy, which is interesting because I'm going to pull up some text messages for you, which were brought up. One of them was brought up in the debate. You've probably seen the clip, him calling Erica Kirk retarded. They pick this guy, right? Oh, he's going to put Candace in her place. You picked the wrong bitch. Okay? And I say that, by the way, with all respect. Okay? I do not say that term when I'm referring to Candace Owens in a disrespectful way. I'm saying you picked the wrong bitch. Okay? Because she slapped you around like she's the pimp and you the hoe. That's what happened here. Let's go ahead and look at some of these text messages that Andrew Wilson had posted in just April and March of this year. Okay, here we go. Here's 2 of them that I've saved. Why don't you read this one? March 20th, Erica Kirk is too retarded to have participated in Charlie's assassination. Has nothing to do with Erica. This is Kirk. This is a response. She's a terrible leader and a femcon like the rest of TPUSA. He's shitting on the organization here, and a moron. This is April and March of this year. And then what you see is he goes into this debate and he is defending Erica Kirk. Defending Erica Kirk. This is why she deserves to be TPUSA. Haven't you ever had a situation where you meet somebody in person and you change their mind? And by the way, the reason he met her in person, and this is probably the most important part, the reason he met her in person is because supposedly, according to him, after he found out Candace was a go and was going to accept his money, after that, he decides that I'm going to reach out to TPUSA, the organization that I just said is full of femcons, and I'm going to ask them to prep me for this debate. This is his story, and I would love Candace to do a follow-up investigation on this, but guaranteed she doesn't want to even think of this guy for another 2 seconds. His story is he finds out she's accepted. He reaches out to TPUSA. Wow, they're great people. They were so helpful. They invite him to the headquarters. He meets Erica Kirk in a hallway. He hugs her and he completely changes his opinion of her. No longer does he think she's retarded anymore. That's what he says. Let's go ahead. This is kind of a longer clip, 6 minutes. I might cut it early. But let's just listen to the beginning from when, Candace brings up the retarded tweet through the part where he basically is saying that it was okay for Candace to be for Erica to step in as the TPUSA CEO because she had to protect Charlie's legacy. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Let's watch this.
Would you like to explain how you developed your positive evidence for the fact that Erica was retarded?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
I just think all women are retarded.
Oh, so you're allowed to just say stuff. Who knew? So,
You
and
just
by
asked
the way,
me.
and
Like,
what dramatically transformed your opinion of Erica after going to the headquarters? Because you were pretty hostile about.
I wasn't hostile towards them.
You don't think calling somebody too retarded?
No,
is
come on. That's like normal tongue-in-cheek stuff for me online.
Oh, you're being tongue in cheek.
Usually when I call someone retarded, I'm being tongue-in-cheek, yeah. Like, for instance, you got supporters. I mean, if you want to use the same exact argument, you would take a supporter like Owen Benjamin. He called you bad names and called your husband bad names. You're just like, well, that's no biggie?
I've never answered him on anything that he said. I'm saying that you now are her biggest defender. So do you still think
I'm not her biggest defender.
Do you still think she's too retarded?
No. I didn't know Erica Kirk. I'd never met her before.
Okay, but you had an issue with Turning Point being led by a bunch of fembots talking about the feminist angle.
Still do.
And then suddenly you go to the headquarters.
Still think it's a terrible idea.
You go into the headquarters. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden you've got text messages that you're sharing with them. You say that you and your wife are getting involved with management.
No. I'm not involved in any management at Turning Point USA.
Well, I'm pretty sure there is a clip of you where you say that your wife went to their recent conference and sat down. And then when you were on Joe Rogan.
No. Hang on. I'll explain what happened just so that you understand.
Yeah.
So I was invited there to do some debate training. That's literally what I was invited there to do on recommendation. So I went down and did some debate. That's the first time I ever met anybody at TPUSA.
Okay. And then you said you sat down with Erica.
Well, I didn't sit down to her. I talked to her in a hallway.
So you didn't sit down and speak with Erica?
No, I didn't have like some sit down long conversation. We talked in a hallway.
Okay. Is that when you gave her the hug?
Yeah, gave her the hug right there. My wife did too. We were both very sorry for what happened.
Okay, so at what point did you start receiving text messages from that you cited in your opening statement?
I just reached out to TPUSA and said, I'm prepping for a debate. Is there anything that's pertinent that I can use here?
Do you find it interesting that people have been asking for, basic answers to questions and You're saying that you walked into their headquarters and reached out and they instantly...
It's amazing, isn't it?
So I'm pausing it there for one quick second because I want to bring up something else, and then we'll go back to playing that clip. But the reason she's saying, Candace is saying, they gave you evidence, they gave you information, is because Andrew Wilson started off this debate reading his phone. Really not a good look. Hate to say it, not a good look. And he reads off, in addition to his opening statement, he reads off a supposed text message that Charlie Kirk sent. He says the day before the assassination, claiming that he was concerned about his security. He says in this text message, Charlie said the leftists are going to kill him and that he's concerned about this. And he says TPUSA gave me this information because they trusted me. They knew I was coming here. And, I found this Erica Kirk clip from the days after Charlie was assassinated, where she's actually saying the complete opposite. She's saying all the rumors out there that Charlie was afraid somebody was going to kill him, whether it was Israel, a leftist, a trans furry, whatever, those don't exist. He never was worried about any of that. Let's watch this.
But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone. But he was not messaging.
So the question now is, with that information that TPUSA gave Andrew Wilson, thinking that they were going to do something, by them doing that, now they're contradicting what Erica said in the very beginning. They are. They're contradicting what Erica said in the beginning. So which one is it? Did TPUSA have Charlie's phone and find text messages that he was afraid that a leftist was going to kill him the night before he was assassinated? Or is that now a fabricated, made-up text message because they have to try to pump more bullshit to try to fit the narrative? Or is what Erica originally said the truth? That's what I want to know. Which one is it? Let's finish with this Candace clip.
If you reach out in good faith and you're not demonizing them and saying that they're complicit in the murder of people's deaths, that perhaps they're actually willing to release things to you that are pertinent, other than thinking that, perhaps you're diabolical.
Well, I don't know. I feel like
intentions.
if I was going to release that information, I didn't demand that it be released to me. I actually never demanded that it be released. I just simply said that this is what was going on in the last 48 hours. Maybe to the media they could release it. They could release it to PBD. They decided to release it to a guy that called Erica too retarded in June.
So what?
Yeah, I just think it kind of shows that Turning Point is sending you as their horse.
Well, I don't know where
they don't have the courage to have the conversation. If they were just releasing something in good faith to answer questions.
Do you have any
I've never
evidence
demanded
of that claim?
It's not evidence.
No.
You're sharing your opinion
No.
that she's too retarded. I can't share my opinion that I think it's going to register as really obvious to the public, that rather than presenting that throughout the course of everybody wanting to know what Charlie was going through his last days, they decided to give it to you to come to my house as some sort of a surprise.
Well,
do you think the public's not smart enough to see through that?
Do you think that if you
talking
know
about terrible PR,
if you know that there's a huge debate that's coming up that's going to be probably one of the most viewed that year, and one of the debaters calls you and says, I'm taking this position, this is the position that I feel like there's the most evidence for, and Candace also agreed to answer many of my questions in regards to this. So if you got pertinent evidence here that I can use, I'd definitely like take a look. It was actually amazing to me. It really was actually amazing to me how if you approach people in good faith and just say, hey, I'd actually like to know what the facts and details are around this, they actually do talk to you.
I'm stopping it again there because he acts like he's a academic. He acts like he's a professor, right? He has that that air to him like he's smarter than everybody else. I have an acronym for people like this. It's called a Kia. It should be mass adopted. I should make merch with this. Don't be a Kia, a know-it-all, okay? He's a know-it-all. And he thinks, oh, in good faith, TPUSA gave you this clip. No. They sent you to the front lines with a water gun because the internet does not disappoint. And now your proof is being contradicted. Your never before seen text message is being contradicted by the woman that you decided to stick up for in this interview, Erica Kirk. Also, you notice his foot the whole entire time? It's shaking. It's shaking because he's getting beat down. And it's also shaking because the man needs a cigarette, okay? And I'm sure Candace was like, I'm pregnant. Sorry, that ain't gonna fly here. But when you look at this face, he's caught, ladies and gentlemen. He's in a mousetrap. He's in a mousetrap. This is like halfway, 3/4 of the way through the interview at this point. He thought he was going to do something here. And now she brought up you're too retarded, Erica Kirk text messages. Not even the moron ones that I was reading you and that how, TPUSA is a bad organization. She just brings up the fact that he called Erica Kirk too retarded. And he's like, I've never met her in person. So you met her in the hallway for 2 seconds and you gave her a hug and that changed your mind? You had basically no time with her is what you're trying to tell Candace. No, I didn't sit down with her. You didn't even sit down with her. You chatted with her in the hallway for a second. Now all of a sudden, she's not retarded. I don't know. The math ain't mathin' to me. Let's get back to this clip.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I just do not believe that they are doing this in good faith. I don't believe that anything you have done has demonstrated that's in good faith. It demonstrates that you walked into Turning Point USA headquarters and came out a different man because you were critical of the organization. You were critical of Erica, and now you're sitting here going, Candace, I want to interrogate you for an hour and a half about everything you've ever said about Erica. Have you ever been
critical of somebody that you hadn't met and then you meet them and you're less critical of them?
And the inverse has happened too. I was less critical about Erica, and now I'm more critical about her.
But I'm asking you, isn't it the case that there's people you've been critical of and then you've met them and you're less critical after you meet them?
Too retarded. I feel like if you think that she's dumb and let's just talk about your record. I mean, you're a person that has spent time in what most people would term to be the manosphere, talking about well, yeah.
I debate against
against feminists
and red pillars.
Okay.
And a lot of the actual. So I'm a Christian ethicist.
And then you go on to Joe Rogan, and you're like soft explaining away why Erica had to take over Charlie's company when they don't have a parent at home. So now you're a feminist icon. Like you just go into the headquarters and you just shift all of your perspectives.
That's a bizarre criticism. Like nobody's in the bigger girl boss position than you.
Yeah, I'm actually no.
You're in the biggest of the girl boss positions. Like you don't have to do this. Okay. You just do this. You could definitely not do it at all and be fine, right? But you still do.
I would say that you are making a comparison that cannot be compared because Erica's husband was just assassinated in front of the world.
Which makes sense why she would take the organization over.
No, it makes sense why you would go home to your kids, just so you know.
Wait a second. That's bizarre.
Yeah, because they don't have a parent. They don't have a parent, and they've just suffered a trauma. You don't go into the office. You want to protect
your husband's legacy, right?
No.
And you're trying to find some new normal.
The legacy is his children, not the organization.
It's both.
No,
yes, it is both. It's totally rational and reasonable to believe that it would be both Turning Point USA. That is part of Charlie Kirk's legacy. He worked his whole life for it.
This is why people think she's sus.
And his children. Now, for you though to say that anybody's a girl boss. Right? That's like the pot calling the kettle black.
That came out of your mouth.
No, that was you. You brought up girl boss.
Girl boss came out of your mouth.
Yeah, I'm telling you that you.
When you tweeted.
Annihilated him. Girl boss came out of his mouth. And for someone that has spent their whole entire career basically telling women that they belong in the home, a Christian ethicist, I need to look that up. Maybe we'll do it live on here. What is a Christian ethicist? In fact, let's do that. Candace is now saying, so you're leaving all your values behind because you got prepped for this debate by TPUSA. You changed your opinion that Erica Kirk is now worthy of being the CEO in the short time that you met her in the hallway, which I don't believe that. I don't believe that he reached out. I don't believe that he briefly met Erica Kirk in the hallway. And I don't believe that he probably wasn't compensated in some way or another to do this on behalf of TPUSA. Now, whether or not we're going to find out if any of that is true, I don't know. But to me, that's the vibe it was giving off. If you spend your whole entire career arguing against feminists, and then you're saying, no, Erica Kirk doesn't need to be home with her children after her husband was assassinated. She should go back and be CEO of his company, which I've said this time and time again. I'm someone who believes women can do whatever they want. If you want to be a CEO, be a CEO, right? But this guy thinks that women should be at home. As he spends his whole entire time arguing feminists on that. And then he says 6 days later, totally normal for her to be in the office. And by the way, let's not forget what she looked like when she was in the office on those Zoom calls. She was giggling and laughing about pushing the merch. We've done 100 million, right? We got to get this book out there. Everybody grieves differently, ladies and gentlemen. Don't ever forget that. Everybody grieves differently. Sid Callan said TPUSA probably sponsored him the $300,000. Now, this is also something I find to be really weird when we're talking about that $300,000. Okay? And you're probably right. Let's get a money trail. Where did that $300,000 come from? But this is something I find to be really odd. Okay? So speaking of that $300,000, he gets the $300,000 to Candace Owens. And then remember, he starts crowdfunding the $300,000 saying, in case I, don't debate, I need to be reimbursed that $300,000. Either way, he wants to be reimbursed the $300,000. He starts a Give, Send, Go, Shine Bright, which I guess is like the new GoFundMe. And in the fine print, it says this. If the debate, let me highlight this. Can I? Here we go. If the debate does not take place, up to $300,000 raised here will go to benefit the children of Charlie and Erica Kirk. So he thinks she's retarded, but then he's going to be giving her $300,000 if the debate doesn't take place. That's an interesting, situation here. That's an interesting fine print that I don't think a lot of people really paid attention to. He's changed his opinion of Erica Kirk so much that if the debate fell through, Erica, because of course the children are not 18, Erica would get the $300,000, which actually goes to the point that TPUSA may have lent him the $300,000 because if Candace says, well, no, you backed out, I'm keeping the money, then I guess that would be a way for Erica and TPUSA to be reimbursed. So Sid Callan with a great point there, because if TPUSA did give the money and then in the fine print of the GoFundMe or whatever it's called, it says if the debate does not happen, the money will go to Erica because of course her kids are not 18. It would go to the guardian. That's an interesting point. That is a very, very interesting point. Yes, I'm just wowed by that. But he completely changes his opinion on Erica, on TPUSA. Him and his wife are there. He also changes his stance on his background with guns, which is interesting. He has these tweets that his wife sent out saying that he was a sniper at one point in time. And Candace brings it up. No, I wasn't. So let's go ahead and watch this clip. Oops. Oops. Let's X out of that.
Okay. And for how many years?
Many, many years.
For many years. You also said that you were an Army sniper.
I wasn't a sniper in the Army.
Okay.
And I never said that.
Sorry, your wife tweeted that you were an Army sniper.
Yeah, I don't know. Like 15 years ago, she said something.
Does it
She
change
said that
15 years later?
She said that it was colloquial. So
Army sniper is a colloquial term?
Yeah, I was never an Army sniper.
Okay. What did you do in the Army? Did you teach this? She then I corrected it and said you taught rifles in the Army?
No, I didn't teach rifle. No, I taught rifles as a private citizen.
Okay.
I don't think that he expected that she was going to come with the receipts and the research that she did. Oh, man. I don't think that he expected that, and doesn't make him look so good. But even after all of this, he thinks that he did great. That's what he tweeted just about an hour ago. Is he a narcissist? Is this what he's supposed to do? Did he really think he did that good? He couldn't even name the 7 charges against Tyler Robinson. The reason they were there. But this is what he tweeted. They had nothing and never had anything done. Of course, you have Cat Turd. She's a joke. But I think this is right here. I think this is how most people feel. I really do. I think most people look at Andrew Wilson now as a clown. So I hope it was worth the money that TPUSA gave you, because you did make a name for yourself. You did. No one knew who you were. I didn't. I mean, sure, there are some people that knew who you were, but you weren't into the mainstream. You go on Joe Rogan. You make probably what TPUSA, this is my opinion, TPUSA probably thought, just say this on Joe Rogan. We'll get you on Joe Rogan, right? We know Dana White. We know Joe Rogan. Let's get you on the state media. And we're going to have you say, Candace doesn't have any way to back up anything. She's just doing this for money. And we're going to have you say, we even offer her $300,000 and she won't take it because she's got nothing. Okay? And then I think Candace called their bluff. And they did this. And now the reaction is the reaction. I'm curious what you guys think in the chat. Mar R310 said, so basically he's a shill. Yeah. Here's Ian Went, a content creator. This is what he was saying. This is 9 minutes. We're just going to watch the very beginning. But this was his take on the situation.
Freaking debate with Candace and Andrew. And oh my gosh, I've never seen a worse beatdown in my life. This guy basically paid $300,000 to end his career. But I have to show you this last part because I'm gonna be making a whole lot of posts about this. You're probably gonna get sick and tired of it. So if you haven't watched the full debate, don't worry. I'll keep you up to speed with a lot of different clips. But this part right here is just, it's so perfect. I mean, Andrew is literally just like, he's shaking the whole time. He has been absolutely crushed. And anyone that says otherwise is either a Zionist, a TPUSA, like absolute shill, or a freaking bot. There's no explanation other than that. Even PBD sitting there watching Andrew, like, you can just tell he's like, brother, you need to stop while you're ahead. He's conceded literally like 4 times. Okay, but watch this one. So they're talking about the exploding mic theory. And basically Candace is like defending her position on why she thinks that it's a possibility. Which, by the way, She already crushed him in the beginning with the actual debate. And now they're just basically in this weird back and forth where Andrew is doing exactly what everybody knew he was going to do. And he's trying to like catch her in something and basically get her stuck in a lawsuit. So they're showing random like clips that are taken out of context and they're trying to get her to slip up and say something. And he's basically just interrogating her at this point. But she's genius because she's allowing it to happen, even though she could have easily just said no. She's allowing it to happen because it's just exposing these people for who they really are. They have no argument. They have no position whatsoever. And so now they're resorting to exactly what everybody knew they would, which is basically try to catch her up and try to get her caught in a lie or make her look dumb or whatever and get her in a lawsuit or whatever. But you have to watch this clip. Watch this. Okay, so here it is. So basically she's defending her position on the exploding mic theory, and she's using examples like Rob O'Neill, who's the Marine that killed Osama bin Laden, and Andrew's trying his best to do what he's done this entire time and sound smart and sound like he has any experience whatsoever, even though he's been actually caught in a lie about stolen valor, but we can get to that another time. But just watch this.
I'm going to say when we looked at it, it was between 1,500 and 2,000, I'm pretty sure, pounds of energy coming at you, and you just go upward and to the side. I don't really buy that. I'm gonna just say I just think that that's not possible. It doesn't go through. On top of that, so there's another miracle. You didn't get blown backwards. It didn't go through. But I also want to say that you're saying this can happen, and Rob O'Neill is infinitely more qualified, I think, to speak on that.
Why?
And well, because he's actually shot and killed people.
Why would that have anything to do with anything? Did he slow down all the videos of the people he shot to see if their clothes moved?
Well, why are you able to start your position at fast?
Because I'm gonna
start your position at fast.
Because I'm gonna tell you how projectiles work. He's not even gonna I guarantee you this guy's not gonna disagree with what I'm about to say. If it is the case that you have energy and you have mass and the mass is moving in the air has to go somewhere. It doesn't have a choice.
I think you're totally BSing right now, man.
Not only am I not BSing, I'm telling you the truth. If a bullet is moving in air has to move out of the way of bullet.
Look at PBD.
Here, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. The idea that he is more qualified to talk about how Charlie Kirk was assassinated more so than the individual that shot and killed Osama bin Laden is hilarious. His wife has lied that he was into snipers. His wife then lied, I mean, this is according to him, that he trained rifles in the army, and now he's talking about how air moves. He would know about how air moves because he's moving a lot of air in this interview, and that's about all that he's doing. That's about all that he's doing. She embarrassed him so many times. But Ian also made a good point. He goes, everybody thinks that he lost, that Andrew won. Anybody else that says otherwise is a bot, a Zionist, or a TPUSA, basically absolutist. PBD Podcast put out a poll. Who won? There are 56,000 votes so far. This just opened up an hour and a half ago. 61% Candace, 38% Andrew. And this is a hilarious meme. The reputations: TPUSA, Ben Shapiro, Laura Loomer, Graham Allen, Andrew Wilson. Who's next? I actually really do believe that that's what happened. I do. I think that the Grim Reaper came and he's done. However you want to say it, he's done. Okay? Like I said, Nick Fuentes, who was talking a big game, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to be live watching, tweets out, I can't even watch this. It's just all become a soap opera now. No, what it's become is a Candace Owens beatdown. It's become a Candace Owens beatdown, and you thought you were going to be sticking up for a guy that was going to have a gotcha moment with Candace. It didn't happen. You have nothing to clip. You have nothing to say, along with everybody else here. He can say they had nothing all they want. The clips are going to be forever. And the clips are definitely flying off the shelf today. Flying off the shelf. Speaking of, let's see what else I had here. One of the things that he brings up is the restaurant receipt he's basically asking Candace to produce the receipt of the restaurant in Panguitch, which is hours away from UVU. And he thinks he's going to get her in a gotcha moment here. I'm going to play this clip. And then Diligent, I think it's supposed to be Citizen, but it's Denizen. I always say it wrong. Who's been very involved in this case, tweeted that they're the ones that have the receipt. They have the original receipt. And they tweet and they say, the first claim Andrew Wilson attacks Candace Owens was Tyler Robinson going to Panguitch and the receipt of him being there. It's obvious they're very worried about Panguitch. Why? Because it's an impossible timeline. I don't know if you've seen the video, but I'll play it in a second. The official narrative timeline is Mission Impossible. Basically, it says Tyler Robinson's driving around for 13 hours and 20 minutes in the 24 hours that he's trying to escape police, driving to all these different places in Utah. And Diligent Denizen says, we have the receipt. She doesn't have the original copy of the receipt, but we do, and so do our attorneys.
You think that Robinson drove hours away to a steakhouse in
Yes.
the timeline? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the compelling evidence that you think you have there?
I spoke to the owner of the restaurant, and I have seen the receipt. I know the conversation that I had, and I think it's enough that it will be presented. Obviously, if this goes to trial, but yes, I do believe that he was in Panguitch, which is near his grandparents' home.
Did he give you an unedited copy of that receipt?
I have seen an unedited copy of that receipt. It was not given to me from the owner.
They sent him in with certain talking points. They thought they were going to call her bluff. I said this time and time again. I go, it's not a good idea to do that, right? Remember when Candace, in the very, very beginning of this, Candace was questioning the 30-06? How is there not an exit wound? It was just that simple. And she was like a dog with a bone, and she was going on and on about it. How is there no exit wound with a 30-06? And you had these snipers and these different people coming out, doing these gel dummy tests, putting cow femurs, shooting it through steel, and it goes through every time. But Charlie's bone was made of steel, remember? And she forced, I think, the Andrew Colvett tweet now that is famous, where he says, I talked to the surgeon, which there's a lot of HIPAA situations in this whole case that are a problem too. I talked to the surgeon, and the surgeon said it was an absolute miracle. His neck stopped the bullet and probably saved a lot of lives. This is a bullet that takes down elephants, but it stopped it. I think Candace is just bringing up common sense points, and then she's getting tips like the picture of him at Dairy Queen, the receipt of him eating Chick-fil-A, which it was actually a funny part because Chick-fil-A is a Christian organization, a restaurant chain, right? Not open on Sunday. You my Chick-fil-A. It's a Kanye West song from one of his greatest albums, Jesus is King. I love that album. And side note, if you notice, basically when Kanye started going crazy and kind of, it was after that album. It was the Sunday services. He was doing a similar thing that Charlie Kirk was doing. He was bringing young Christians together. But she brings up, if this guy's a trans furry, he ain't eating at Chick-fil-A before he goes and assassinates Charlie Kirk. They also brought up the point that, in the preliminary hearing, Lance Twigg says that him and Tyler never spoke about politics. They never spoke about Charlie Kirk. It's weird, right? Because he was supposed to be this distraught individual. I'm going to read some of your guys' comments. Candace cooked him. Effort free me. What's up, guys? Nobody will be checking for him. Someone might be checking for him. And that someone might be me. Because I have never encountered a more annoying human being in my life. Yesterday on my podcast with James Lee, the Today Show, I saw the clip of him and Joe Rogan for the first time, and I was irked by his personality, his dialect. And let me just tell you, I'm a people person. I'm an extrovert. I like 99.9% of people. He's the guy. He's the guy I go, nah, not him. No, can't do it. Don't like him. Nope. Hey, you want to come to my party? Yeah. Is Andrew gonna? Oh, Andrew's gonna be there? Ooh. What date did you say? Shoot. I totally forgot I have something. I don't even want to be in the same room with that guy. Right? If he wasn't a public, person and he was just someone I knew and I found out he was going to be at a party, boy, you don't want to get stuck next to him at the punch bowl. It'd be key all day long. You'd have to be listening to, Professor Kia chain smoking cigs. It's my worst nightmare. He's just, everything about him is disgusting. Obnoxious, Lady Luck 420 said. He is. Obnoxious. And he made himself look even worse in this debate with Candace. I think all women are retarded. Well, now you just lost half the audience. Effort Free Me said, didn't Rob O'Neill get caught lying about something too recently? I've seen some thumbnails of military channels talking about something. Not saying he's not credible, but I'm skeptical of the guy who killed Osama bin Laden. He's probably not even dead in my opinion. Well, I'm happy that you brought up that point because James and I are actually going to be interviewing him. Fingers crossed, it's in the works. Before the actual trial begins. And probably in the next month here. And so I'm going to look up and do my research before we talk to him. And I'll ask him myself, hey, were you lying here? What's the deal? And look, you don't have to tell me that you're skeptical of someone who claims that they killed Osama bin Laden. I've gone over the exploding mic theory. I'm still wondering where's the tunnel? I'm not saying Charlie's alive. I'm just saying. This was just an annoying part of the early beginnings. And luckily, this is only a minute and 10 seconds of it. Of the fingerprints.
I'm asking you to address that. How could that be possible?
Let's give it, let's just grant this for a second as a possibility that his fingerprints were degraded.
No, it's not a possibility. It's a fact. The person who took
hang
it.
on. I'm just granting it for the sake of argument.
You should grant it because it's a fact that she presented.
So now it's granted. So what?
What do you mean, so what?
Yeah, so what? What does that prove?
It proves that if his prints were the most degraded amongst 5 of them, you're going to have to explain how that's possible if he's the one that recently fired the weapon.
Yeah, so wait a second. You're saying that it's an impossibility that if his fingerprints are the most degraded,
I'm telling you to explain it. You're the gunsmith.
Well,
so
wait a
explain
second.
it.
How would a gunsmith give an analysis on fingerprints or DNA? Do you think that I work in a DNA laboratory
So
with
your
fingerprints?
answer is I don't know. You can just say you don't know.
But
you
I
don't
did.
have to.
But I did.
No, you said so what?
Yeah,
say, I don't know. I
but what
actually
would
don't
that-
have an
what would
explanation for that,
prove,
Candace.
though, is my question.
Well, I think that what it would prove is that it is a more viable theory that people who had stronger prints on the gun may have used it more recently.
Did they tell?
The thing that's annoying is that for being a Kia, he sure acts, he sure plays dumb half the time. Why would the degraded fingerprints matter? He did the same thing with dust in the barrel. She goes, why did the forensic team say that there's dust in the barrel if it was just recently shot? Well, he hid it in the forest. He hid it in the forest so dust could get in there. No, you know what I'm saying? Even if you fired it, sometimes there could be dust in the forest. TPUSA's done it again, ladies and gentlemen. They've epically failed at going against Candace Owens. This time it's going to cost somebody their reputation. And I will be checking in on him because he thinks women are retarded. So I just want to follow up and see what happens now. Because guess what? You think women are retarded? Sir, I think you're retarded. I think you got mouse-trapped. I think you went in, your narcissistic personality traits. You think you know everything. Professor Kia, you thought you were going to do something here, and you didn't. And then you decide to call half the population retarded. Well, your wife seems retarded because she said you were a sniper in the army, and you weren't. And then she said you trained rifles in the army, and you didn't. Anyways, look, I shouldn't be using the R word that much, but since it was banned for so long and now it's come back around. Reading some more comments. Candace fried him like a chicken. She really, really did. Candace cooked him. She got him good. It was something else. It really was. And I'm not saying that this whole thing wasn't a WWE situation. That was my take going into it. I'm like, this is kind of weird. Joe Rogan kind of facilitated the conversation. I thought, they're all putting on a show for us. I thought they're all putting on a show. I'm a guppy because I'm tuning in with my popcorn and it's all a big distraction. That's what I initially thought. And that still could be a possibility. But now that I've watched it, I think what really happened was TPUSA used their administration connections to get this guy on Joe Rogan. They thought they were bringing in a Trojan horse. And ladies and gentlemen, they brought in, I don't know, what would you call this? I don't want to call him a pony. A Trojan pony, because I love ponies. Ladies and gentlemen, they brought in a Trojan donkey. Hee-haw. Okay? Hee-haw, doing shit. They thought they were bringing in a Trojan horse. They brought in a Trojan donkey. And it's a long trek back downhill. Boy. It did not go well for him. I think the clips are going to continue. I think the backlash is going to continue. And I think it's going to age worse for him, that debate, because I think a lot of the things that Candace said she's skeptical about or open to being a possibility, I think more information is going to come out during the trial that's going to prove her points more. That seems to be the way that it goes. Lady Luck 420 said, he's definitely a jackass. Trojan jackass coming in. Lucifer Lacero said, believe in Jesus, rapture soon. Praise the Lord. I believe in God. I believe in angels. The other night I was up with my baby. He's teething in the middle of the night. I got literally no sleep. And the thought in my head was, you need to do a story on angels are real and just declare it. You can't really see in the background here. Let's see if I can change this while I'm live. Unportrait this. Unblur this. I got angels all over in my studio. I got an angel up. I got an angel here. 2 angels there. On this side, you can't see. I got little angels all over the place. I believe in God. I believe in the light. And I believe in the good. People don't realize that my handle WFF News was a typo. And that it was originally supposed to be WFG News. WFG News. Work for God News. Work for good. Work for the good. Okay? So that's just a little backstory about me. And then I started going viral on TikTok. I go, girl, I got a brand. What's WFF going to be? And then it was World for Freedom. And I love both messages, but it was supposed to be work for God, work for good. WFG. Because I believe in the power of the light. And Christian ethicist. Before we go, let's look this up. Grok, what is a Christian ethicist? Let's see what Grok has to say. Let's make this bigger. Oh, let's see here. I got to make this big screen. Well, I don't know what I've done now. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make this big so we can really read what a Christian ethicist is. A scholar, a thinker who specializes in Christian ethics. I didn't know it was Christian-like to call women retarded. Interesting. The study and application of moral principles drawn from Christian beliefs, especially the Bible, church tradition, a theological reflection. Woo! That's who we have as a Christian ethicist, ladies and gentlemen. Dark times. That is insane. The fact that that guy is supposed to be, you know what I mean? Working for the light. So many of these people, and then I'm going to go, but so many of these people make a deal with the devil. That's what I think at the end of the day. I think that they want money, they want fame, right? This guy obviously wanted to be noticed. And he got set up, mousetrap, the Trojan donkey. It ain't looking good for him. And that's what happens when you go against, I think Candace really is somebody seeking the truth and and maybe I'm fooled. Maybe she's an actor too. I've been fooled before. But she doesn't seem to take cheap shots, at least in this debate. And he definitely did. So I think she slaughtered him. I want to look one more time at that updated PBD poll just to see if anything's changed. Slowly but surely, it's going more and more in Candace's favor. And I think we're going to continue to see that. So anyways, I'm going to start doing lives more often, you guys. I used to do lives, for those of you guys that know me. I used to do them every single night on TikTok. And then we know what happened with TikTok. I couldn't do it. But before I go, and this is what I used to do on all my lives, I just want to say a quick prayer. Okay? Dear God, dear angels, I just want to pray for peace on earth. I want to pray for peace around the world. I want to pray for all of the people that are dealing with a health condition, whether it's cancer, a brain degenerative condition, Alzheimer's, dementia, liver failure, obesity, depression, anxiety, that they find a path to healing, that they can find a friend, that they can find somebody, a support system to comfort them. I want to pray for all the people that are in a war zone. I want to pray for their protection. I want to pray for all of the children around the world. Anybody that's hungry or homeless, I want to pray that they get food and shelter. And I want to pray that all of the good people in the world can unite for the light and fight against the darkness, because we are in a spiritual war, that we can snuff out the darkness, we can snuff out the evil. I believe the good always wins, and I just pray that the good people can find each other. I pray no plagues, weapons, or injuries formed against you shall prosper. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I pray for a good weekend and blessings for all of you. God bless. Amen. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Now I feel like I've done something meaningful with my day, because I do believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the power of the prayer. And I don't think I need a Christian ethicist in my life anymore, ladies and gentlemen. We're voting him out. Snuff out that survivor candle, because we've eliminated you. It's over. All right, guys. God bless you. See you soon. Thanks for being here. And I'll talk to you soon.